The Voice Battle of Champions battle has changed from the coaches vying for the greatest artists to the artists vying for their coach's favor now that the blind auditions are over. The first night of battles was intense, with gifted vocalists competing in duets that put their uniqueness and capacity to transcend their genre to the test. Fortunately, they received a lot of assistance along the road. Benji Madden of the pop-punk band served as Team Adam Levine's battle advisor. Charlotte, good. Since Madden and Levine are friends in real life, Madden boasted that he is one of the Maroon 5 singer's favorites on his phone, making it simple to contact him when he needed professional assistance on The Voice. Battle advisor Muni Long, a professional composer who has written hits for celebrities like Rihanna and Ariana Grande, assisted Team John Legend. She is now making a name for herself as an artist and giving back to the next generation on The Voice. Alumni coach Jennifer Hudson, an EGOT winner who enjoys hurling shoes in enthusiasm, took over for coach Kelly Clarkson, who was unable to be present with her team during rehearsals. What next transpired on The Voice? Battle of Champions opening night of battles performances. Continue reading for a detailed summary of the winners, the people who were taken, and more. The song, I'm the Problem by Morgan Wallen was performed by country rock musicians Bay Simpson and Hunter Jordan. While Jordan performed a three-chair turn, Bay stunned everyone with a triumphant performance. After performing Die For You by the Weaned Together, Jolly Boy defeated Bidou Bell to advance to the knockouts. While Levine selected Alexia J as the winner of Night Shift by the Commodores, Moses G was granted another opportunity to compete when Legend took him. Pop princesses Maikenly Brown and Liv Sierra sang Focus by Hair in an unforgettable battle. Although Clarkson awarded Brown the advantage, she utilized her super steal to keep Sierra on her team, even though both coaches wanted her. The Voice has always came to life during the battle rounds, and Season 29 demonstrated this in a way that viewers won't soon forget. The battles are about truth, if the blind auditions are about discovery. Here, opinions clash, self-assurance is put to the test, and coaches are compelled to make choices that have the potential to drastically alter the course of events. The drama in Season 29 didn't let up. It leaped right into it. You could sense the change from the first battle. The coaches were more focused than ever, the talent felt deeper, and the stakes were bigger. Rather than being a chance matchup, each pairing seems deliberate, almost like a chess move. This season was obviously going to be unpredictable. Perhaps that's why it was so captivating. Because these battles never turned out the way you had hoped. The tone was established on the first night. Right away, two strong vocalists who could both carry a final performance were pitted against one another. It was audacious, dangerous, and precisely the kind of choice that compels both artists to fluctuate in real time. Additionally, the song selection wasn't cautious. It forced both competitors into uncharted ground rather than something comfortable. One gave a performance that seemed polished and technically sound by leaning into control. The other, on the other hand, chose to embrace emotion and allow flaws to play a role in the narrative. The room fell silent for a second longer than normal when the last note was played. That silence spoke it all. The coach had to make a difficult choice. Their reluctance, their expression, and the internal argument they were having in front of everyone all showed it. In the end, they selected the performance that felt more prepared for the following round and was more controlled. However, another coach struck the losing artist button before they could even comprehend what had happened. The season's first steal. It moved quickly, assured. It also conveyed a message. Nobody was secure. The energy in the room shifted at that very time. All of a sudden, there was an additional level of intensity in every conflict. Winning was no longer the sole way to move forward. Going home wasn't always the result of losing. Additionally, it meant that the coaches had to pay attention to every squad, not just their own. Patterns began to appear as the battles went on. In order to make their choices more understandable, some coaches concentrated on matching voices that were similar to each other. Others took the reverse approach, pitting opposing styles against one another to discover which one performed better under duress. Each strategy included some risk. When similar voices were paired, a powerful artist was frequently lost regardless of the outcome. The selection became more subjective when different styles were paired, which led to disagreement, And this season, there was a lot of dissent. There were times when a choice was openly contested by all four coaches, not in an antagonistic manner, but in a way that demonstrated their level of commitment. They weren't only taking in performances. They were arguing, analyzing, and looking for something that others might have overlooked. The artists were affected by that intensity. It was evident in their preparation and performance. Every note seemed to be more important this time, that their entire journey might be defined by every decision they make, every risk they take, and every stage moment. Halfway through the rounds, there was one particularly memorable fight. In what many viewers later referred to as one of the best duets of the season, two performers who had made a big impression throughout the auditions were matched together. There was a subtle rivalry underlying the seemingly seamless blending of their voices. They were all attempting to make a statement without dominating one another. And it's very hard to maintain that balance. Little nuances began to matter as the song went on. A slight shift in tone, a little different wording. The audience was drawn in by a brief moment of eye contact. It no longer felt like a competition by the end. It seemed like a group performance. However, the regulations remained unchanged. There was still a choice to be made. There was no joy when the coach eventually selected a winner. It was a mixture of remorse and relief, because everyone was aware of what had just been lost, and the theft entered the picture once more. This time, the losing artist was desired by more than one coach. A number of buttons lit up. A negotiation replaced the battle on stage. Each coach tried to connect, persuade, and provide something that felt significant as they made their pitches. It had nothing to do with cold-blooded planning. It has to do with belief. It was a moment of power for the artist who was standing there. They had a choice. One of the voice's most revolutionary aspects is the transition from being chosen to selecting. Contestants gain a sense of agency that alters their course. In this instance, connection was the deciding factor. Not assurances, not track records, linkage. You could see the influence of the artist's decision right away. On the basis of an almost missed opportunity, a new collaboration emerged in real time. The battles in Season 29 felt different because of this. Every result seemed like it could have turned out differently. The steals became more calculated as the rounds went on. Instead of jumping at the first chance, coaches began to hold back and wait for the perfect time. Even outstanding performances were not assured a second chance, which led to a new kind of stress. Time became crucial. If you take advantage of a deal too soon, you may lose out on something better down the road. If you wait too long, you may completely miss your opportunity. The competition was made more complex by this delicate balancing act. The saves came next. Coaches can keep players from their own team via saves, as opposed to steals, which bring artists from other teams. It's a different kind of choice, based on long-term potential and loyalty. Some of the most poignant saves in recent memory occurred in Season 29. There were times when it was obvious that coaches were having trouble deciding between two artists because they could only advance one of them directly. The save evolved into something more than a tool during those times. It turned into a declaration. "I'm not ready to let you go" is what it means. After a battle that didn't go as expected, one exceptionally strong save was made, while the other artists stunned everyone with a performance that surpassed every rehearsal. The first artist performed exactly what was anticipated. The coach chose the surprise and applied their save to the other artist right away. It was one of those rare occasions when both performers took something away. Validation. By the final week of battles, the teams looked completely different from how they started. Steals had reshaped lineups. Saves had preserved unexpected talent. And the original strategies had evolved in response to everything that had happened. No team felt predictable anymore. And that unpredictability carried into the final battles. These last matchups had a different energy. More confidence, less anxiety. The artists who have progressed this far have already demonstrated something. They were now battling to improve it. It was the storytelling, not the vocal might, that made one of the last battles memorable. A song was transformed into something very personal by two musicians. They simply used their voices to tell a tale, stripping it down and eliminating any sense of performance. It was silent. It was therefore potent. This one stood out in a season full of significant events by acting in the opposite way. It felt more like picking a direction than picking a winner when the coach made their choice.